The blues, characterized by emotional songs, usually including sadness and haunting renditions. Today, we'll be talking about the likes of one of the greats and one of the more forgotten blues musicians, Blind Willie Johnson, who I will just refer to Willie Johnson. Not much is actually known about Mr. Johnson's early life, other than he was born on January 25th, 1897, in Texas. And at the age of just 7 years old, his stepmother, in a heated argument with Willie's father, ended up throwing lye in his eyes, blinding little Willie for life. His music career was only a few years long. He recorded 30 songs from 1927 all the way to 1930, and these songs stand out by their grittiness, to say the least. Grittiness and his skill with slide guitaring and his absolute gritty chest voice singing. It is very haunting, and to be honest, my favorite of a lot of them Ain't Nobody's Fault But Mine, which is so true because he was in, that church stuff, gospel, gospel blues and all that. And the song is basically him explaining his family taught him how to read, and that if he doesn't read it, it's nobody's fault but his. Great message. Now, later on, something tragic would happen, and his most popular song that was released during that time, Dark Was the Night, Cold Was the Ground, was a haunting foreshadowing of how he would die. Now, in 1945, his house would sadly burn down, and I looked in to see if there was like foul play with the house burning down, but it doesn't seem so. It just a freak accident with something in the house, and it burned down. And over the next few weeks, he just slept in there, on top of newspapers, and he contracted syphilis, I'm pretty sure, and malaria, because, we're in Texas, it's September, you're still in that hot area of the year. So he got sick, and eventually he went to the hospital, and they wrote that he died from blindness, and honestly, that can't happen. That's literally impossible to die from blindness. They didn't just want to treat him, according to his lovely wife, that because this is the 1940s in a southern state, he was black, and there you go. That's why they didn't treat him, because he was black. He was buried at the Blanchette Cemetery in Beaumont, Texas. And his plot would be unmarked until long after he died. From 1945 all the way to 2010, there was no marker. And in 2009, there was actually a movement to pay for him to have a little marker, an honorable marker, because they didn't have him documented that well, so they didn't actually know exactly where he was laid to rest. So his actual plot, that's not where the stone is. It's somewhere in the cemetery, and on the plaque that is right next to the stone, it says that nearby lays the remains of Reverend Willie Johnson. Anyway, that is very sad, and funny thing is, I know I shouldn't say funny thing is, but we're not talking about Mr. Johnson now, is that I discovered him through a somewhat questionably quality video game. I'm sure some of you probably already know what I'm going to say. Fallout 76. Believe it or not, I had a counselor a few years ago who played games, and she bought me Fallout 76. That didn't really solve my mental health. I'm sorry. That's a bad joke. But anyway, I played it with her a little bit, and I played it in 2020, so it was better than release, because it wasn't even a Fallout game when it was released, just nothing, but it was better in 2020 when I got it, apparently. So I played it a bit, never played it again, haven't played it in years. I don't know if it's gotten better. I don't know what they're even doing in it anymore, but that's how I discovered Blind Willie Johnson. And the song I heard in Fallout on Appalachia radio is Ain't Nobody's Fault But Mine, and I immediately fell in love. And I discovered his other songs, mostly Jesus Make Up My Dying Bed, and I've heard that one quite a bit too. I really liked it. And just being interested in history, and yeah, very, very interesting. Anyway, there's a video by a young man, Scott on Tape. His YouTube name is Scott on Tape. He visited the site of his stone in the cemetery, the memorial. I think it's a guitar. No, it's a cross. It's a cross. Pretty sure. If I remember correctly. I saw it. I know I saw it. But anyway, he went into the cemetery and it's not really well upkept. And he actually went to the site of Mr. Johnson's house where it burnt down. And there was still actually charred wood there that Scott found, like charred wood on the foundation, all those basically almost 80 years ago, which is crazy. Anyway, I'd recommend you go watch that video. It's actually really cool. Anyway, rest in peace, Mr. Johnson. Just because I'm not really religious or right now, or I'm very uncertain, doesn't mean that, he should not be celebrated on what he accomplished. And also, another big fun fact about his music is that dark was the night, cold was the ground, was sent into space, because it is hauntingly sad knowing how he died. It's a foreshadowing, and also it's just haunting to listen to. You should listen. Anyway, peace, love y'all. Stay safe. Goodbye.